Spencer.
Hello.
Had Kevin Aldridge last time. Now we're on to Grady, who also has an incredible board. Let's just keep this real straightforward.
Yes.
Can you walk us through like what this board is,
Yes.
what your signal chain is, and what each thing does along the chain?
For sure. Yeah.
And tell us about that guitar too.
Yes. So this guitar was actually a wedding present from my wife when we got married back in 2011, and it originally just had the normal like Telly bridge.
Okay.
And I'd always wanted like a Bigsby
with a Bigsby on it.
And so I watched a couple of YouTube videos and just prayed that like I wasn't gonna ruin it.
Okay.
And I was so scared like screwing it in.
I never put one in either.
Yeah, I was so scared.
Okay.
And it's probably like a luthier would probably look at it and think that it's trash, but for me,
it works.
I don't really take it like this guitar is so special that I don't even leave. It never leaves the house, so it's like. It doesn't really matter. Like as long as I like it,
it's yours.
It's cool.
I love that.
And like I keep big, heavy flat wounds on it to get nice and thunky.
That's interesting.
And,
you have a real unique tone. So is it flat wounds for?
With the band stuff, I use round wounds, just because I like to be more conventional. But like, I was really influenced by like Blake Mills, you know, 5-6 years ago, and like the real funky, meaty kind of rubber bridge stuff.
Did you get a rubber bridge?
There's a rubber bridge right there. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that one's got flat wounds on it as well. And so it gets I'm more of like a thunky, and like I'm not like a shredder by any means. It's like anything that sounds nice and fat with chords is like what I want to do.
Do you use that Bigsby a lot when you're playing? Like, because we were talking with Kevin had one on his SG last week too, and used it really sparingly. And then I was talking to some of my guitar students this week about, different ones have different purposes.
Yes.
He's got that one on that Stratocaster. It's not like a dive bombing sort of effect. It's like
just like a slowly
hit it with those little taps or whatever.
100%. Like I see guys like Mateus Asado, like where he's using it as an instrument of like, he has it down when he hits and then lifts it up almost like a B bender, but like I'm more of just like a just like very like momentary tremolo type of thing or something. That's how I use it. But yeah, this board is like basically the world, like it's my equivalent of a golf habit. Like I don't golf, but those guys spend a lot of money on golf. And like this is how I rationalize it to myself of like this is a lot of money, but I don't golf, I don't hunt, I don't do anything else. So like this is like my indulgence. So this is kind of like the hobby board.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll use it for like solo stuff. If nothing else, just for the Chroma Console.
Okay.
But so this is just for fun, basically, which probably sounds really stupid to people. But
one thing that Kevin and I talked about last week was like songwriting with the board and like using it to like
100%
brighten all the colors on everything. Because I tend to have like really subdued colors in things that I make, and Kevin really goes for like this real like a lot of really bright punchy things. So I'm interested to hear like how
for sure. Yeah, like once we get here, like creativity. These are like inspiration machines in itself, but we can get there. But I've got a different board that I use with the band. That's all like it's basically like a UA Audio Ruby that's doing a lot of. It's just basically like an AC30 amp and with like a boost and a slap that I use, and so it's like super simple. This is like the weirdo. Let's kill 2 hours before you even know it type of thing. But what I love about it is I just got this Chase Bliss Clean Compressor, and then with this, so like you can get a really normal tone type of thing of like you get dry, and I always like real direct non-amp stuff. But then, you can add some, like a doubler or tremolo, so...
Okay.
Let's see, maybe... Oh, there it is. I didn't even have it on. Yeah, I'm like doing stuff, nothing was happening. So you get like, So like it can go all the way to like full chop.
Okay.
Or like even more subtle.
This is what I'm talking about, these colors, man. It's just like,
yeah,
it's so extreme.
And then what I like a lot is, it's real. You can look on Instagram and see everybody's like really into the cassette, lo-fi type stuff. And so this thing has like a cassette texture thing that, so it gets like nice and warbly.
It's really,
So like you just get like weird stuff. So that's what I like about the board is like you can do normal, like you could just use this for a tone thing. But what I really use it for is, you get into the blooper, which is basically, just a really nice looper that does a lot of crazy stuff. And so you get like, it's like recording.
Oh, okay. See, I don't think I even knew that the blooper was a looper.
Yeah, so like it's, what it has is like modifiers. So we'll bypass that where it's just the thing. And then you can start getting into like...
Oh yeah, you could waste days and days and days.
Yeah.
Not waste, I mean you could really like...
And then it has like kind of a really filter on it, and so...
Oh yeah.
So you can get like... and then you can kind of build over the top of it of like... And then... you can start adding in some reverb over here.
So you're coming in from this side, right?
Yeah, okay. So this is actually on the end. So like if I did it the way... I mean, usually you want your looper after this.
Yeah.
But what kind of killed me is this is mono in, mono out.
Okay.
And which I wasn't even thinking this isn't panned correctly. So this will sound a lot better now. But so these are both mono in, mono out, and then this is stereo. So this kicks it out to a stereo image, stereo in, and then a stereo out. So then. So you can kind of hear it like spread a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like...
That's so cool.
So that's what I was saying of like, you run that into your DAW, hit record, and then you're like, okay, let's build a song off of that.
Make stuff. Yeah, that is
and then you can do like, swells or... I'm not a really good swell guy, but I should probably let you play it.
In the way of it, yeah. Okay, there it is.
And then you just like...
taking those little tiny pieces of stuff.
And then, and so... This is a lot of fun in itself, and like this one I've had for years, and it's one that I understand, like not 100%, like it can get really out there.
I can imagine that could get really confusing having it all being in one. Oh, there you, yeah.
Yeah, like you like
it all be in one little package.
It has these modifiers where like.
So like what are the? Because you keep clicking that.
Yeah, so
this guy right here.
So like, these are called they call them modifiers, and there's two buttons on the bottom here.
Oh, okay.
So like. This is the raw signal.
Okay.
And then you can click them on, and each modifier has 3 things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
So you engage it, and then this.
That is wild.
I mean, it's literally like, and that's just all off that one swell.
I mean. How do you, not to get too in the weeds on like the writing part of it, but like how do you find something, like what to you, like when you're making something with this, you go, oh cool, that's the sound that I like and that I'm keeping. Because I feel like whenever I've done stuff like that with my pedal board setup, I get so lost in like layering stuff and going, oh what's the next, that I never stop to think, oh that's the sound that I'm keeping. Like,
usually my downfall is I find something like that was really cool.
Okay.
Is I'll go back and I put too much stuff on it, and then before I know it's like chaos.
Yeah.
And so what I've been trying to do and get better about is like I'll run it into Logic and record just this.
Okay.
You know, or I think I just recorded over it, but just record something, one single thing, put it in there.
Okay.
And then go back and like record over that. So if I don't like it, I just delete the track and then I have that original thing.
Yeah.
But usually what I'll do is I'll just kind of loop just kind of loop something and then find interesting parts of it.
I mean, that already, like, where it, like, pitched it up.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And it's just like... And you can, like, get real... Like, it's just one tiny turn of the knob, and you're like...
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Every time you twisted that knob, it's been like, oh, that's a different song.
Yep.
That's a different song. Like, that's a different thing.
And then you can... What I've been doing lately is, you can kick in this thing. You know what I mean? Like the tremolo on this, like this really makes it a whole nother...
This box has so many different things inside of it.
Dude, this thing is crazy. Yeah, this thing is like... This has probably been my favorite purchase I've made in a long time.
Really?
Just because it... And I'm barely scratching the surface. Like, it can do the MIDI stuff and, like...
No way.
Presets and, like... Tyler, my guitar player in my band, he's got one and he's got everything mapped out where he's just like... Next song is a completely different sound. Next song is completely different sound.
That's
but
wild.
I just love it for like the textures and like
I love that you're using it really organically. Like you're using it as like what would it be like 4 different pedals almost?
Basically, yeah. So you have like a drive section. They call it a movement, which is like vibrato, phaser, doubler, tremolo. This is kind of like your reverbs, tape reel. So like, I'm not a huge like lush reverb guy.
Okay.
But like, it'll do it for sure, and like, you're getting like tape reel stuff, and like,
you can get out there with that.
So it's like, it's pretty much anti what my normal music is, because like that stuff is just very straightforward, simple songwriter stuff. But I just got this Mood pedal for my buddy, and so these two combined are like crazy, and like this is still kind of like a wild stallion. Like I don't fully. I've been watching a lot of videos to try to harness it.
On like the Reddit pages for pedals and everything. Everybody's talking about these two specifically, but this Mood pedal, everybody talks about this thing, and I don't know any of the words that they use on the.
Dude, it's crazy.
I don't know what you're talking
Basically,
about.
what it is like he partnered with 2 companies. So like this side is like a tape loop, almost like a cassette. Like it's constantly recording when it's bypassed. So like I could
when it's off, it's still recording everything that you're playing.
It's listening to what you're doing.
Just constantly?
Yeah.
What?
And so like this side is like a tape loop. This side's like a effects. So like it has reverb, delay, and slip.
Oh.
And so like you could turn this on and it'll
like sends the loop to that side of the pedal.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Like seeing it in person is making all the things that I've read online.
It's
like
it seems like, way more complicated, but it's literally like a tape loop recorder and effects. Basically, is all it is. And but this thing, like you can.
That's nuts. So is that being affected by any of this other stuff right now?
This is the only so this is completely bypassed.
Okay, so this is what it's hearing.
And so it gets what is like uncontrollable for me right now is like I've got this mapped to what they call a clock, and it basically is like it either shortens what you're doing or lengthens it. So like you can get all the way down to like white noise, like not pretty, but then
so that's like if you've like slowed the tape all the way down. Okay.
And then you can like,
and then you're speeding the tape up.
It goes all the way up to like, and that's all.
It's like an infinite. It's not like it's clicking through speeds. It's just like a flow through all of them.
And so it's like, so this is without the effects. This was just the delay. And you can see how tiny I'm barely moving that, and it's like,
yeah.
And so you can get like, you know,
there it is.
You know, and then you're like, that's a song right there.
How does it?
So this I think is actually reversed.
So perfectly in time though. Like, is that just you knowing, like being really comfortable with cutting the loop on and off?
No, and that's where I'm like, it's very much not like I just jack around, like where like Kevin knows the like science behind everything. I'm just like, okay, that sucks, scrap it, and then you stumble across something like this.
Yeah, that's. So
and then you can like.
From earlier about like when you hear something, you go, oh, that's the thing. Like,
yeah, because then you can take it into this.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's the thing.
You can take it into this now, and treat this as like, you can almost treat this like a DAW.
Go for it.
So it's like,
I gotta hear this.
So then we'll stop this. So now this is playing it. This is off.
Yeah, this created like some sort of weird loopy sort of tapey thing, and
now this is in here. So now we can. You can like. You can like put it in like a filter thing. And then this thing will start like chopping it up. So you can. So you get weird, or you can like.
Is that like running off of a scale? That thing that you just did? Okay.
So there's.
That's how my night sky is too. With verbs, it's like it's on that scale.
You can. This thing is like crazy. Like you can put it in your computer and it has software, and there's like 20 different like modifiers. Like there's like slicers, and there's ones that are like freeform where it doesn't follow anything. But I usually like to do the ones that do it in stepped increments, so it's like it keeps it relatively in key.
Yeah. Which one of the stepped ones do you like to do? Because it's got mine like, I think I just keep mine like a major pentatonic thing or something.
Yeah, that's usually what I do.
It's so safe. You're like, no matter what I do here, it's gonna sound.
It's gonna fit in. So like this thing is like, it's like chopping it up in a weird way.
This is nuts.
And then you can like take it back into the. This is back to the original sound.
Take like stuff like this because I've seen you do that thing, the beat box.
I haven't done it in a long time, but I'll tell you what I have done, and we can do it here in a second. Is I've got a cable to plug the OPZ into this.
No way.
And it is. Let's do it now since we're already into the weird stuff.
That's beyond.
It's really really fun, but yeah, like usually what I'll do and I'll show you. We can. Try to get a computer screen is like I'll put it into Logic, and then there's a way like if you just hit record on a cycle, it'll just when you get to the end of it, it starts re-recording another take.
Just on that like loop recording.
And so like you could do like 6 different takes, and then you can go in and like find little slices.
Yeah. And
it's just like this really crazy random thing.
I love that.
And what the most hilarious thing of this?
I would never get any work done. That's
why I'm like.
The thing is like, I feel like you get a lot of work done, but if I had this stuff, I don't know that I would ever. Like I would come out with like the and like I haven't showered in like a month or so, and
luckily
I would never.
Luckily / unluckily is. I've never made a dime making this kind of music. And so it's like, okay, I gotta go actually make some money. But like when I need to like decompress or like have some fun, this is what comes out. And it's like,
I was watching, or not watching, I was listening to, have you listened to ambient country podcast.
Ooh, no, but I like the sound of that.
Oh, good. It's like, he's this guy, he's from this band called Suss, like SUSS. And I've only listened to one episode so far, but it was really, really good. But he's interviewing, like, it's ambient musicians, Americana, anything that's, like, sort of, like, adjacent to ambient stuff.
That sounds incredible.
So have you listened to Marisa Anderson?
Yes.
She was the episode that I listened to.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. And
Dude,
but she does.
I'm checking that out as soon as you leave.
The way that he does it, though, is like he has the guest build a playlist, and then they listen to the playlist and talk about the playlist.
Yes.
And I was like, that's such a good idea.
Yes.
And it turned me on to so many cool things. But what made me think of, and this is, it was mind blowing for me. Like last week, was like, oh, there's people. This thing that I sort of discount as like not a moneymaker or just my like sort of hobby to the side when I'm at home just for like goofing. There's people that's their entire creative output.
Yeah.
And like they tour the world doing this sort of
You're
stuff.
right. Yeah.
And like and I was like, what's that difference between me goofing around with it and them like composing with it?
100%.
Like,
there's nothing. I mean, it's basically just like how far you're willing to take it. And like that's why I'm excited, like not to make this a plug for this thing that I just launched today, but like the Happy Humble Club thing, which is clothes, like a clothing brand, but it's you run ads on Instagram, you're not supposed to use stuff that's copyrighted.
Yeah.
And so I'm using.
I shared one of my own videos the other day, and it flagged me for a copyright. And I was like, and I had to like go in and
So I looked at it as an opportunity to like, why not create like some cool ambient tapey stuff and use that as the bed for these ads? And so I'm gonna do it.
Creative in that space.
I have a blast.
Like, I have to come up with some song.
And it's like
cool. I got my fun
and
toys.
Use it. And I'm actually gonna like I'm gonna make a artist profile on all the stuff, and like every time I make a song for an ad, I'm just gonna upload it and see what happens, and put it on SoundCloud, and because like you say, you just never know. Like there's people who enjoy that kind of stuff.
Well, you can get on. I mean, there's sync libraries and all that kind of stuff. That, as long as you can define the mood of it or whatever.
So this thing is like, this is like an OPZ. Are you familiar with this?
I know what the OP, the bigger one is.
Yeah, so this is like kind of a. This is kind of the baby of that. Okay. And so I'm not a good guitar, like a piano guy, but so like you can like that's just off that one chord. So now this is the whole thing.
Okay.
And then it just gets like real crazy, and then that's old stuff. We're gonna make a new one. So now. And then it's just like, and like, okay, found it. And then it's like, and then you can like bring in,
let's get it. No, yeah, get funky.
And then this thing is like, you can take the EQ down. And take it back down to like a. You can like, like just like bring stuff in and out.
That's so cool.
And then come up with some stuff over the top. Usually, what happens is this is the point where I'm like, I start putting too much stuff in there.
Yeah, I get that way. Like I have a synthesizer, and that's like
Yeah.
When I'm on guitar doing the looping, it feels like I focus more on the playing itself. And
yeah.
Okay, what notes am I doing? What am I building here? But when it gets on that, when I start messing with the synth, it becomes like, oh,
yeah.
Here, I can just hold this key down.
Literally just holding one key like,
yeah,
dude, I've done it so many times. And so... And that was just off of me, like 10 seconds of jacking around. And so now, this thing you can come in and like
putting down like a bass part for or something.
Yeah, or like a, you know, just like building it off of.
That is wild.
So we can like bring that in, maybe use this. So now this thing is. So now this thing's just like giving like the bass line. We can record that in, let's see. I guess I didn't do the full loop. And this is where I'm like, I like start losing it and I'm like, oh no, but then it's like, it's just fun.
Where did it go?
You know, it's just like, it's
That's
just really,
awesome,
really fun.
Man. That is so cool.
So,
what a machine.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
wild.
it really is like, it's very much a hobby for now. Of just
I love
like,
it, though.
it's so much fun.
It's incredible how much it can blossom just at the touch of a button, though.
Yeah. And I love just like the unpredictability of it, of like, I have a vague understanding of like what it's doing.
Okay.
But for the most part, I just like to explore
Yeah.
around. And then this thing is like, you know, it's just kind of like the nice little salt at the end.
Yeah.
You know, like these are like the meat of it. And then this is like doing its thing. So
I love that experimental nature. I was talking to somebody about, I did a song swap with Ryan Thomas Becker up in Denton a while back. And like we were doing like an acoustic like 3-way thing, but he always brings an electric guitar. And he brought like a backpack that just had a bunch of pedals in the backpack.
That's cool.
And he sat down and like just set them out and went, okay. And he literally said, let me see what kind of landmines I can set for myself tonight.
Dude,
so
I love that.
Just strung them up in whatever order they came out in and was like, cool, let's just explore this sound. And he's one of my favorite guitar players, and I really want to talk to him someday about it. But like that sort of attitude about it, of like, oh yeah, this is not necessarily about like my gain stages and like having everything going towards this specific sound that I want. It's like, oh no, I can just sort of
mess around
and have fun inside of this.
Dude, I love that mentality so much. And I feel like, do you follow Mason Stoops? He's an LA guy, and like he's on all the cool kid like indie stuff.
Okay.
But he works with Chase Bliss a lot, and like every video I've ever seen, he's a lot of the same way. Like he could probably care less about all the conventional stuff.
Yeah.
But he has just a bunch of weird. He like finds these incredible sounds and tones. Just it seems like just by jacking around.
I've always felt like you had to like understand every single knob of this to be like to go in and be like, okay. I think it comes from like the songwriter brain, which goes, okay, I have the idea for what I want to make right now, and I have the tools to put this together.
Yeah.
If I can bring those two together, then I've got my piece.
Yeah.
And so I've thought about it in that way with this sort of stuff. Is like, okay, I've got the idea for the song that I want to make. I understand my tools completely.
Yeah.
Now I can like put it together, and I don't think that's the case necessarily.
No, man. I think it's just how you want to do it. I mean, like these things, like you can see all these little dip switches.
The guys in the back too. Yeah.
I have no idea what most their manuals are all this thick, you know what I mean? And like I don't want to. I don't want to know.
That's too much.
And so like I'll find one or two like that have to do with the stereo image. Like I want to make sure that I'm putting out a wide signal.
Okay. Why do you like that the wide signals?
For this kind of stuff, it gives me a lot of, because it you're recording in at 2 channels, so it gives you a huge canvas of like you can pan them completely all the way left and right, or you can like bring them if you want to make it more mono, you can bring them in together close.
Yeah.
It just gives you a lot more options as far as like what you want the sound to be.
Yeah.
And then this is like, I'm still kind of learning on this one too. It's pretty new to me, and like it does stuff. It can like do panning. Like some sort of auto panning stuff, and I've stumbled onto it.
Was a compression.
It's a compression thing, but it like
oh my god,
it'll do it. And
I mean, for a compression pedal, it's got like a ton of
crazy
options on it.
Yeah, and so I'm still like digging into this one, but like for now, I'm just using it as a compressor. And
I would
like
never thought in a million years that pedal.
It's crazy. Like let's see because this thing will like you can like play full songs on it. Let's see.
So this is something you've made?
Yeah, this is something I've like recorded onto this, and so like.
Yeah, this is
so much fun, like, and this was just like on that.
Okay.
But you can put it into this and like. You can't really hear it moving. That's what I'm saying. I don't really.
Well, you can. I mean, yeah, you can hear some stuff, but
this thing will squash the hell out of it.
Oh my gosh!
And it's just like.
That's nuts.
So this is off.
Yeah. You can really hear it grab it.
I mean, that's completely dry.
So what's with just the compression on
this? Is just compressor.
Oh, because it's just like, yeah.
EQ.
I love that it's got that EQ on it.
Yeah.
You can do so many, like,
dude, it's
mix
so
things with that. Like,
it's so like versatile. Of like you can take it all the way up to like almost nothing.
Okay.
This is full. And it takes it like almost unusable, but
I've been listening to a bunch of like Sylvan Esso.
Yeah.
I love Sylvan Esso.
Yeah, I do too. I love it
and
too.
like the way that those songs are built, they're such simple chord progressions.
Yeah.
But it's this.
Yes.
It's like, okay, it's a loop of this, but then also like can you do that where you're triggering different sort of loops with
yeah, this thing will like you can it's been a while since I've messed with it, but like you can I forgot how you can like record different things, so like you can take this out, take the keys out.
Okay, so it's all in
it's all in this. Yeah.
That's
so like
oh my gosh.
Okay. And then you can like bring in like
because my very simple-minded way of doing it has been like, okay, I'm gonna get in GarageBand and I'm gonna make like this loop here, and I'm gonna have to build this loop out of this,
yeah,
and like construct the whole thing. And I love that you.
Dude, you should really look into one of these. Like it's like, literally like, and what's crazy about this is let me remember how to do it. Is they've got this mode. I think it's this one. So this is all the things, but then like here, you mess around with it. Like it's basically just like a piano. So anything from here is gonna affect the drums. Anything here is like the.
Let's see, I'm lost on it. So just hit. And then it starts over again.
Yeah, and then you can let go and like do one of the other ones. Like do like 8 maybe.
Okay, where did you go? Oh, okay. Oh, what?
Yeah, it's basically like a DJ thing, like effects. Yeah, because like you build it and like it's just basically like.
How do you find that you can keep track of like what each thing is doing? Sometimes with that.
Well, what's crazy is
like when you finally built the song out.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I know what I'm doing with these.
Yes, like this thing. I spent a lot of time in the van learning this one.
Okay.
And yeah, it's so much fun. And
Those
they've got an app that visualizes it, like it connects with Bluetooth, which is crazy.
Got all the verbs and everything that
everything's in there.
On that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, 'cause the only thing it's just the compressor.
It's a compressor right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like. channels.
So you could just build a loop, plug it into the DAW.
Yeah. Basically, this is, so this thing is like kick, snare, hat, like a perk.
Okay, it's got them all labeled out.
Bass, like notes, art, and chords. And so, like, it's basically like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like an 8-channel, like sequencer, basically.
That's nuts.
And so you can take it like all the way down to just like, it's just the perk and the hat, and then when you're ready to kick back in the beat.
Dude, yes, that's rad.
And you just like bring it in. It's like it's the amount of time that I've like gone down these rabbit holes of like, you can just do it for literally hours.
Yeah.
And you look up and like, oh shit.
I love that though. Like, it like engages something that's like even useful though, at the very least. Like,
well, like Sylvanessa was a big like that sound. Like, you probably hear it in that that vibe. Stuff, like, I love like the retro, and like, I'm not a synth guy by any means. I don't know a lot about synths.
Me neither.
But I know the sound when I hear it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's build on that type of thing.
I had something that, like, as far as like the creative side goes, and sorry, I know you probably got to get back to launching your brand company.
It's good. It's launched now.
Happy Humble.
Yeah, it's launched.
But like, something that's interested me is this idea of like, why do we create this stuff, and like, how do we get into it? And so much of it is like, for me at least, copying something that I've heard, and then like, oh, I want to do that too. Mm-hmm. And so that Sylvanesso thing, like, that sort of like makes a lot of sense to me to go, oh, that's how that sound is made. Yeah. Okay, cool. I am now capable of making that thing, and sort of like building off of that other creativity.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I mean, it's the exact same as like, I learned Jack Johnson covers when I was learning how to write songs. I heard Sylvanesso, I'm like, ooh, like what's that? And then the goal, I think, for guys like us who have like creative minds is like, how do we glean these lessons that we've learned by copying other people, and then like how do now we do things like this and create
for sure
our own stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like the life cycle, hopefully, that we're like putting ourselves in, like we're not just consuming anymore. Like we're now creating new stuff.
Absolutely.
And maybe we put it out in the world, maybe we don't. But like for us, it's really fun. Yeah. For me at least. So
that's great. I love it. Well, I can't wait to hear what you make with this.
Dude,
for the Facebook ads.
Dude.
For your own songs.
Follow
cool.
Happy Humble Club. If you hear it on the ads, very likely this board was on it.
Let's do it. That's awesome. That's cool.
Dude, thanks for letting me be a part of this, man.
I
can't wait.
Let me
who else?
Invade your space.
Who else are you?